Hi, this is chapter 11. It's all about mountains, mountain building, deforming the crust. This chapter 11 goes along with what we studied in lab, structural geology. So similar concepts of structural geology, but put into the textbook. Mountains are awesome. I personally have always lived in the mountains in North Carolina or the mountains of Vermont. I love the beach, but the mountains are where I like to be. They are just a source of inspiration for people. The nature here is just amazing. The forest, the animals, the views, the sunsets, the sunrises. Mountains are just awesome. I wouldn't be teaching at Appalachian State if it weren't in the mountains. They also tell a really big story about the history of the earth with plate tectonics. So we know a lot about tectonic activity because in the Appalachian Mountains because of the building of the mountains. So the story in mountains is that of the uplifting of the mountains, that deformation, whether it's folding or faulting, and then the metamorphism of the rocks. Mountain chains are found all around the world, and these on the map here are all related to convergent tectonics, so plates coming together. Over here in North America, Central America, and South America, we live here in Boone in the Appalachian Mountains. The end of those, kind of goes down into Texas, and we have the Ozarks, which are kind of an extension of the Appalachian Mountains. They're their own separate mountain chain, but kind of similar tectonics to Appalachian Mountains. Over here on the west, we have the North American Cordillera, and that includes like the Cascades and the Rocky Mountains and the mountains of the Basin and Range. So the uplift of the Colorado Plateau. There's many different parts to the Cordillera that comes up and around and into the Canadian Rockies. Keeps swooping around and connects up with the Alaska Range. To the north of that is the Brooks Range in Alaska. And Mexico, down in Central America, there's the Sierra Madre, and then those tie into the Andes. You also have the Sierra de Mar in South America. So I won't go through the whole world and all the mountains, but you can see it there. There's lots of convergent tectonics. The process where we build up mountains is called orogenesis. So the building of a mountain and that event could be called an orogenic event, and it's called orogenesis. We also call mountain building events orogenies, all part of that. There's a lot that goes into the building and the formation and the morphology of a mountain, whether it's deformation, breaking along joints, movement along those joints, being faulting. Those are brittle ways to deform rocks. We can also fold the rocks ductily. The rocks can get hot. We can partially melt them. We can squeeze them and make a metamorphic foliation. And then at the surface, then there would be glaciers that carve the rock. So in this image here, there's a U-shaped valley that is indicative that there was once a glacier in that valley. There's also just erosion of rivers, there's landslides, there's sediment that comes into the valleys and wears those mountains down. So there's constructive processes that build the mountains up, and destructive processes, mostly just erosion, that is going and weathering and erosion that tear them back down. So we're going to go through this chapter about orogenic events and stresses and strains and folds and faults and brittle and ductile, different styles of deformation and causes of deformation. And know that so mountains, then there's an event that forms them, so they're born, and then they have a finite lifespan, meaning they're not always going to be there. There are mountain chains that were in North America, there are mountain chains that were all over the world that have been eroded away now. We have the sedimentation history to tell that they were there, but they're gone now. big. Young mountains are steep and still grow up. The middle-aged mountains are dissected by erosion. That would be Middle-aged mountain, and then like the Appalachian Mountains. Gizzy, come up, come on up. Nope, my dog is here. Like the Appalachian Mountains are deeply eroded. Gizzy, what's she doing? Come on this way. Gizzy, come on. Come on. She's not getting up here. Okay. Mountains, orogenic belts.